Production presents The Nosebleed Section with Zach Roach and Adewale.
Welcome to the Nosebleed Section, sponsored by OpenMicProductions.net. I'm Zach Roach.
And I'm Adewale.
We got a big show for you guys today. We also want to shout out to our man behind the scenes, our producer, Kevin Winston. We talking Bears, we talking a big fight over the weekend, and we also have the athletic director of former college and career academy, Marcus Floyd. He got some real good stuff to tell us. And we got plenty more, but we got to talk about the Bears. All I can ask you, what happened?
Well, Tampa Bay, they drove down the field on the Bears, but it was a big sack to begin the game. Willie Young held them to 3 points, held them to a field goal. The Bears get the ball, they drive all the way down to the Tampa Bay 22-yard line, and that was the end of the fun. He threw an interception in double coverage to Alexander. Fortunately, the defense stopped him 3 and out. They punt the ball to the Bears, and what happens? Chicken salad, Tariq Cohen,
Yeah.
He fumbles the ball, and now we're down 10-0, and the Bears get the ball back, and then Glennon fumbles the ball. Bus get the ball
Hold on.
back.
Before you go any further, as a Bears fans, we're Bears fans, right? So we can't lie and act like we didn't see what happened in Miami with Jay Cutler. Are you missing Jay Cutler yet?
No, Jay Cutler's with Adam Gase. He plays well with him, so I think he would have did the same goofy stuff here in Chicago.
Okay, you can go back to Glenn.
Yes, so Glennon fumbles the ball, and so the defense is trying to hold the fort again, and we get a couple soft defensive holding penalties against Danny Trevathan, which was very soft, then another one against Willie Young, which was soft. Now they score a touchdown. We're down 17-0, and pretty much the game is over with, and then Glennon give us the pick six. That nips it in the book.
Yeah, it was 26-0 at the half. I felt like the air got took out of him when all those turnovers. It was just back to back to back, and Glennon threw some of the most awfulest passes. The one when he threw behind him and he had the pick six.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't good. I don't like his movement in the pocket. So it was a lot of things that we that needs improvement. So that brings us to this question: is it time for Mitch?
Almost. We need Glennon. He had one horrible game. He played a decent game against Atlanta. He played horrible against the Bucks. If he plays really bad against the Steelers, they're going to seriously think about putting Mitch in, but you have a short week going to Green Bay. You play Green Bay on Thursday night, so they might want to just wait until after that game so Mitch can have a lot of preparation for the Vikings.
Any positives?
The defense. The defense, they played well. The Tampa Bay scored 20 points off turnovers, so you can't really put this on the defense. They did all they can do. I mean, if the offense is going to get 4 turnovers in the first half, how many defenses can overcome that? Not many.
Exactly. So now that they got beat down by the Buccaneers pretty bad, their brutal schedule continues, and now they play Pittsburgh at Soldier Field. Any chance for the Bears at all in this game?
Any chance? No, not really. They have Big Ben coming to town, Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. The defense is good, but it's not that lovely defense where we get picks from Briggs and Urlacher and Julius Peppers and Tillman. Right. We're not getting, defensive touchdowns.
We got some key injuries too. Both our linebackers are hurt right now.
Kwiatkowski's out, Freeman's out. But the defense still played well without them. The reserves coming in there. Christian Jones came in there backing up, and you still have Trevathan there, the middle linebacker. But it's just the defense just can't overcome Glennon, who's a statue, and he can't move around.
What's the key matchup in this game, you think?
It's definitely the Bears front seven versus the Pittsburgh running game. Hopefully we can force Pittsburgh into some third and longs, and maybe we can tip some passes to get a pick. That's the only thing you can really hope for.
I think the key matchup is the Bears' offensive line against Pittsburgh, because if the Bears are not able to run the ball, game over.
Yes.
Because the teams, you see what teams are going to do to Mike Glennon. They're going to stack that box as much as possible, and they're going to make Mike Glennon try to beat him down the field. And he hasn't shown that he can throw the ball down the field, or that he can move, or he got the pocket presence to see it coming. Mm-hmm. So I just think that's going to be a problem. So if the Bears front line, they have to be able to run the football.
Yes, and hopefully Kyle Long comes back. He may play against Pittsburgh. We desperately need him to open some holes for Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen.
Wow. And the Bears offense and Mike Glennon have to show a little more fight. Like Saturday night, the big fight between Triple G and Canelo.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Big time fight. What was your thoughts on the fight?
I feel like Triple G got cheated. I feel like he won. I feel like he won rounds. The first 3 rounds was kind of close. I think Canelo won 2 of those first 3 rounds because that was Triple G's first real big fight. Canelo has big fights against Mosley, against Floyd Mayweather, but Triple G never really fought a high-profile fighter.
Exactly.
But then after the 3rd round, he was charging Canelo, making Canelo retreat, put him into the ropes. I think he won round 4 through 9. The last 3 rounds, Canelo, his corner told him, like, hey, you need to really win these last 3 rounds because Triple G was winning.
I thought it was a draw. Watching the fight, I thought it was a draw. I thought it was dead even. Now, that Mrs. Bird, who judged it 118 to 110, was absolutely bugging out.
Yes, yeah.
She was bugging out. But the other 2 judges who judged it 115, 113, and then the other one who had it tied, I have no problem with it. I felt like Triple G won the rounds that you said, but I felt like Canelo got the first 3 in the last 3, and that made it 6-6.
Yeah, I can't really argue with you that much. I mean, yeah, a draw, I can see a draw, or Triple G winning by a round or 2. But yeah, the lady Miss Bird, yeah, she really, I don't know what's going on. Maybe she got paid off or something.
Are you looking forward to the rematch? Because the reports are already saying that they're getting the paperwork ready for the rematch.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm definitely going to check it out.
I definitely can't wait. It was a very entertaining fight. When we come back, we're going to have Marcus Floyd come in and he's going to talk to us about high school sports. He's the athletic director. See you soon.
You're watching the nosebleed section. My suggestion is keep it watching. It's a good show. Trust me. Or not.
Welcome back to the nosebleed section, sponsored by OpenMicProductions.net. I'm Zach Roach.
I'm Adewale.
And we got a big time guest here today, Mr. Marcus Floyd, who's the athletic director of Foreman College and Career Academy High School. He's been through a lot. He's been a coach. Speaking of coaching, where have you coached at, Marcus, since you?
I started out at Western Illinois as a manager, and then I got promoted to a graduate assistant. From there, I went over to Spoon River College and became the head men's and the head women's basketball coach. From there, I went to downstate Illinois, Lincoln Trail College, and became the top assistant for that college. And from there, I moved back to Chicago. I had an opportunity to coach for the prestigious Farragut High School in 2009. When Jabari Parker put us out in the super sectional. I thought I was going downstate.
Wow.
And from there, I went over and I started coaching at Austin High School. I took over the girls program for the last 5 years. And now God has put me in the place of athletic director at Foreman College and Career Academy.
How did coaching help you out with this athletic director position now?
Well, right now, working in the inner city, coaching was my outlet. I used coaching to really get to our youth. And me working on the west side of Chicago and coaching, I always related sports to life. If you talk to any players that ever played for me, I always gave them something that they could use beyond sports. If you're winning, you still have the same attitude as you're losing. It's the same if you have money in your pocket, you having the same attitude if you don't have money in your pocket. And just teaching kids perseverance, adversity, and I use that through sports. And and that's what our kids are needed. Sometimes it's not about winning and losing, it's about winning life and being able to navigate in life.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so I have a question for you. Can you let us know about some top athletes, college athletes from the Chicagoland area?
Yes, this is going to be a very exciting, I'm a big college basketball head, very exciting year this year. As you know, we got Jalen Brunson going into his 3rd year at Villanova. We have one kid from St. Rita High School who set out, he started at the University of Kentucky, he transferred, he set out an entire year, and he's going to be making some noise in the Big Ten. His name is Charles Matthew, right from St. Rita High School. His teammate, high school teammate, also made a little noise in the tournament, Vic Law. I've got to see these kids at a very young age, coaching these kids at 5-star basketball camp, so I followed them through the ranks. Also, Simeon, a kid from Simeon, also set out this year. He's at Gonzaga. So Zach Norville. So those gonna be some. I'm very excited about this college basketball season. As you know, every year Illinois is well represented for March Madness.
Absolutely.
I think this year I did a little research. I think we had 47 players in the tournament just from the state of Illinois. So the Illinois is always talent. Not just Chicago, but Peoria area and the Springfield area, and Illinois is very loaded. So I'm excited about this college basketball season.
Same here.
Yes. You talk about college, you talk about how loaded it is. Now, with the one and done rule, like you've dealt with a lot of these people when they were high school kids and then they go right to college. Mentally, not just physically, mentally, you think they're prepared for this? Do you think they need college, or do you think they should be able to go straight out if they're good enough to go to NBA or something to that degree?
Well, first of all, as a college basketball fan, I think if they're good enough, let them go.
Right.
I think sometimes you water down the college game, and I'm speaking as a college basketball head.
Right.
I think you watered the game down by knowing a kid like Jeremiah Tillman, who's one of the top players in the state of Illinois, going to Mizzou for 1 year and then going to the NBA. I would rather see a kid that's there 2 and 3 years. I feel if a kid is good enough and an organization is going to draft them, let them go. I actually seen a couple people talking about once they're in college, making them stay 2 or 3 years, kind of like how football does it. I think that will build up the college game, and it'll make a player think twice. Make players think twice about going to one and done. But the one and done from the college perspective, you have students like Ben Simmons, who's not even going to class second semester because he's working on his NBA game. I would prefer to see those kids who's good enough, let them go into the NBA and keep our college game pure, rich, and about student athletes.
Right. Now, you are an athletic director, and you've been dealing with high school sports for a long time, whether you was a student, whether you was coaching. What changes, what has improved, and what needs to be improved, you think, going forward?
For the high school, the city of Chicago is a very unique situation, because as you look on the news, you see schools losing funding, you see this, and the number one thing all the time, which it hurts, is athletics. Basketball has been able to keep above float because of the talent in the Chicago land, but because of schools don't have the funding, we can't produce good football teams, we can't produce good baseball teams, and so one thing about the high school athletic experience is losing. Unfortunately, it's losing because of the funding in the schools. So you have your Simeons, you have that's basketball heavy because of talent. But I could tell you, I know it's some schools downstate with $20,000 budget where Simeon I don't know their budget. I'm gonna just say it ain't more than $5,000. And so because of the talent in basketball, you're able to make up for it. But when it comes to the other sports, we will never be able to compete at the public league, football, baseball, just because we don't have the resources and the schools don't have the resources. So that's one thing I would like to see. I know a lot of my educational colleagues don't like to see school closings, but at the same time, you know, the city of Chicago is so big, and now everything's stretched out. We might need to start looking at consolidating where those programs could be bigger and more rich, whereas we don't have over 20 schools in the city of Chicago under 300 students.
Wow. Wow. So that's very interesting. So I got one more question for you. We talked about sports and just basketball. As you see, I'm a big basketball fan. So I just want to know, as far as high school basketball, has AAU affected high school basketball at all?
Has AAU affected high school basketball? Yes. And I want to put the preference, I'm not against AAU basketball. Sometimes it could sound like I'm against AAU basketball. But I will say AAU is a little watered down. At the high school level, you had coaches that was developing players. At the AAU level, it's about winning and getting recruited. I remember as a college basketball coach, I used to have parents come up and say, "Hey, should my children play AAU?
Right.
My answer was always yes and no. Yes, if you want them to get recruited. No, if you want them to not learn. I mean, basically, they're not teaching many fundamentals.
Right.
Some AAU coaches will say, yeah, we teach fundamentals, but I think the AAU coach trying to win 3 games in one day, and as opposed to developing.
Mm-hmm.
Where the high school game was created for you could be a freshman, you learn. As a sophomore, you learn more. As a junior, and then a senior. At the AAU level, you come in and you play. You play. So that's where I want to say Kevin Garnett a couple years ago made a statement and said AAU basketball is killing the NBA. And
He's not the only one that said. A lot of people have said that.
and to an extent they're telling the truth, because it's basically you're looking at talent and no development. And so you'll have a kid come to the NBA that really can't dribble. You'll have a kid that come to the NBA that ain't worked on his jump shot. Right. Whereas at the high school level, when the focus was at the high school level, those kids were developing as through the years. You had to, if you were a freshman, you would play good enough, but most freshmen usually sat the bench and they went through sophomore year, and they went to junior year, then senior year. Whereas now, the best players, the most talented play.
Right.
That's who play AAU, not the ones who's working hard and who's developing. And now I always use that word developing, because that's at the high school level. AAU, we ain't seeing too much developing. We want it now. It's the microwave generation.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with a lot of things you said there. Well, thank you for coming on the show today.
Pleasure.
Much
Thank
appreciated.
you guys for having me.
Hopefully we can do this again. Love talking to you. You're watching the Nosebleed section on openmicproductions.net. Welcome back to the Nosebleed section, sponsored by openmicproductions.net. I'm Zach Roach.
Adewale.
Shout out to our producer, Kevin Winston. So now we had some big games. The Bears got blew out. We talked about that, but they had some other good games last week that we wanted to address. Dallas versus Denver. What was your thoughts on that Dallas and Denver game?
Yes, I was really looking forward to that game. I was really high on Dallas before the game. It's hard to pick against Denver in the Mile High Stadium. But Emmanuel Sanders scored his second touchdown and right before halftime.
Trevor Seaman looks good.
Yeah, he looks great. And they went up 20. Denver went up 21-10 at halftime, and Cowboys are still in the game. And then The Broncos had the ball on the Dallas 30-yard line with 3rd and 11, then screen pass to C.J. Anderson. First down, Broncos was led to a touchdown by the tight end Green. 28-10, game over.
See, the thing with Denver, this is what makes Denver so hard. Defensively, they are good at every level. They have a good front four, they have a good linebacking crew, and they have good corners. So they can pressure the line of scrimmage, and they got Talib and Chris Harris back there who can shut down anybody, and they're just very hard to score on. And I think for Dallas, Dez Bryant, I don't know. Dez Bryant is not the Dez Bryant we seen a couple years ago. He's had a lot of injuries. Do you see some slippage in Dez Bryant?
Yeah, I mean, I think he does a lot of talking. He does a lot of woofing.
Yeah.
But I want to see more production from him. He just, maybe he's getting old, but we'll see. It's been 2 games. Dak, I know he's going to hit him, so we'll see what he does next week.
And Denver's a very tough defense. So at the end of the day, that was just all Denver defense. Green Bay at Atlanta. Now, we almost had Atlanta. We had Atlanta. We had our chances to win, but we didn't get it done. Now Atlanta goes back home, open up that brand new stadium, and boy, did they look good. What did you see in that game?
Oh, yeah. Miscommunication, interception by Aaron Rodgers. They was down 17-7 right before the halftime, and you rarely see that with Aaron Rodgers, a miscommunication. Yes. So Desmond Trufant intercepted the ball, and which led to a touchdown by Coleman, put him up 24-7 at the halftime. And right after that, Vic Beasley sacks Aaron Rodgers for a sack fumble, and here's Desmond Trufant again.
Yes.
Who picks up the ball, runs it for a touchdown, 31-7, game over.
Atlanta puts so much pressure on you at home because they get the ball, they come right out and score. They have so many weapons. They got great running backs. They got great receivers. They got tight ends. They have weapons on every level. They got the ultimate weapon in Julio Jones. They got Sanu. Yes. They have Coleman, and they are loaded, and they are just hard to stop, and especially when they are at home. So
I think that Soldiers Field slowed them down in that turf in Chicago, but they went back on the turf in Atlanta, and they was fast again.
So I think right now Atlanta is still the best team in the NFC.
I can't argue with you on that one.
Last game we're gonna talk about was that Detroit and the New York Giants. Now Detroit, we talked about Detroit. Matthew Stafford got paid. He got paid a lot of money, the highest paid player in the NFL.
Right.
And guess what? He looked like he earned every penny of it right now. What do you think of that game?
Oh yeah, Matthew Stafford. I mean, he has all my respect now. He threw 2 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions against a great Giants defense, and you can't really hate on that guy. And the thing is, give the kicker some credit too. Prater, he kicked a 56-yard field goal before halftime to put him up 17-7. Yeah. So that guy, he makes a lot of kicks, and he's very clutch.
What's wrong with the Giants?
The Giants, well, Eli got sacked 5 times. He gets no block. He's under pressure all the time. They have a guy that's cursed to make the playoffs with Brandon Marshall. Okay, he's never made the playoffs in his career. You think he's going to hop on the Giants, who beat the Cowboys twice last year, and you think, but now they're 0-2, so I don't know. Odell Beckham came back, he couldn't save him, so it's looking bad for the Giants.
Dude, they really have offensive line issues right now. And Eli Manning, you know, he's won 2 Super Bowls, so people always give him the respect because he won 2 Super Bowls. But if you look at his career, he's very turnover prone, and he's thrown a lot of interceptions and a lot of fumbles in his career. So, and he's getting older now, so we just got to see with the Giants. But that offensive line is bad. They got to figure out something right away.
I'm not going to count the Giants out yet because they usually bounce back.
They always come up with something.
Right.
Now, it was a big trade we all talked about. Kyrie went to the Boston Celtics. He had an interview on ESPN First Take. And now he has some things to say. He said he didn't feel like he had to tell LeBron about his decision. You agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree. He wanted to leave. He didn't want to tell him because maybe LeBron would go on the social media and say something. So he wanted to keep it low key.
Right. And then he also said, you know, he complimented the Cleveland Cavaliers by saying it was a great organization, great players, great coaches. But in that same comment, he was like, but I want to grow as a player. I want to show that I can do more things. I don't want to be just stagnant, and I don't want to be considered just an ISO player. Do you see Kyrie Irving? How do you see him fitting with the Celtics? Do you think he's got more skills than he's been able to show?
Yeah, I really have. When he hit that shot in Game 7 against Golden State on Curry, I'm like, this guy's a primetime player. So, and with the Celtics, I think he's really going to excel. I think they're missing like a dog in the paint, you know, someone that's going to do the dirty work. They don't really have that guy, but I think once they get that guy, they'll be challenging Cleveland every year.
And now it's teams out there, it's people out there and that was rated the highest possibility of who's going to play the East, who's going to play Golden State from the East. And a lot of people are saying the Boston Celtics. It's actually a higher percentage for the Boston Celtics than the Cleveland Cavaliers. Do you agree with that?
Well, you know what? I think the reason for that is because Isaiah Thomas, he has hip surgery,
right.
And Derrick Rose gets hurt every single season.
Yes.
I think that may be the reason why they're doing that. But if those guys are healthy, no, the LeBron is going to beat the Celtics.
I don't think they're going to beat them because at the end of the day, the Cavs have LeBron, and that's just what it comes down to. And especially in the East. Now he can't get away with it against Golden State, but everybody in the East, like, they got LeBron. And whatever team LeBron's on, that's who's going to come out the East. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Now we got another big week Sunday of football. And now, we weren't expecting this to be a big game, but it's a big game now. Atlanta at Detroit. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you expect this to be a big game?
No, I didn't. I thought Detroit would tail back this year because they ended this last season real bad. But they coming out, Matthew Stafford is really looking like MVP candidate. Matt Ryan, they bounced back from that Bears game that they almost lost and blew out Green Bay, who's a Super Bowl contender. This game is hard to call right here. I mean, right now, I'm kind of leaning towards, it's really hard to pick this game. I would go with Atlanta just because they're the reigning NFC champions.
Give me a score.
I would say it's going to be high scoring, 30-27 Atlanta.
I got Atlanta too. I think it's going to be a great game. But Atlanta, like I said, I think they're the best team in the NFC. They just got too many weapons, 35-31. Now the Giants, 0-2, predicted by a lot of people to be the NFC representative or the number 2 team, power index in a lot of people's stores. But now they're 0-2. They're playing the Eagles with Carson Wentz, Alshon Jeffrey. They lost to the Chiefs last week. Not a bad loss. The Chiefs are a very good team. What do you see going on in this game?
Well, the Eagles is like one of the most underrated teams in the NFL. They beat the Redskins pretty easily in game 1. They almost beat Kansas City in Kansas City. And the Giants, they just look awful. I mean, they got blown out by the Cowboys 19-3. Then they play the Lions at home and they lose 24-10. So I'm definitely going Eagles at home, Eagles all the way.
All right, I'm going Eagles too. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Giants will play a little better, but I got the Eagles 24-21. And our last final game, Seahawks and Tennessee. Give me a score.
I'd say Tennessee 17-13.
I agree with you. I think Tennessee 20-17. Got you. Let me do that one part again.
All right. 5, 4, 3, and then 5, 4.
Thank you for watching the Nosebleed section on OpenMicProductions.net. I'm Zach Roach.
I'm Adewale.
Shout out to our producer, Kevin Winston. We want to thank Marcus Floyd for coming in, giving us his time, and giving us some good answers about what's going on in high school sports. We got another big show coming up next week. Don't forget, go on OpenMicProductions.net. Find out about other shows. Check out the Lunchroom. Check out the new Teenage Show, and much more. Until then, peace.